Hey guys, want to welcome to another edition of the our R&B podcast. We got Miss J up there, and we got Mr. Stevie Street. How are you guys
Good
doing this evening?
evening. I'm in control. We're in control.
In control, yes, that's Janet. How you doing, Miss J? I mean, we haven't seen you for almost feels like a little bit.
Right, true. I'm good. I have to I dressed in some tight black patent leather pants like Janet and Scream today. Can't see them, but I don't know if I should show them. Because I look like Janet
Hey,
in
well,
pants too.
oh, okay. Oh goodness.
She's got an
Um,
80s curls on as well. Look at the hairdo, Namdi.
Yes,
80s curls.
Janet.
In fashion now.
Thank
In
you, sir.
fashion.
Yeah.
Hey, Derek from the Twin Cities. Welcome, Derek. Always. Hey, as you guys are watching, please put in the comments that we know you're in, so we can give you a shout out, as Derek has done. Stevie, how are you doing? I can see that you're back on your radio show. It would be good if you can put in the comments the where people can download it, listen to it on. Is it SoundCloud?
No, it's not hard. It's on all my shows are on mixcloud.com/Stevie Street.
Stevie Street,
Okay.
like Green Street.
Yes.
.com/Stevie. Let me
Capital S
Stevie
for Street, and then capital S for Stevie. So Stevie Street, and then /
Okay. Okay.
Played a bit of the old
So
new album from John B, which is absolutely fantastic.
okay.
Oh, waiting on
Chai Boy Shade, welcome. And Mac, always good to see you. Emily,
Mike's in. Hi, Mike.
welcome. Yeah, guys, as you come in, just give us a hit. As you said you played a new John B. His EP just came out on Friday.
Yeah, waiting
How's
on
it?
you. It's good. It's really, really good. There's some features on from Rick Ross, the boss. He's always big in Japan. Old Rick Ross, isn't he? He's always he's big in KFC as well, I do believe. But yeah, and then you've got the Tanks on there. What's she called?
Donnell Jones.
Girl, yeah. There's another feature from a lady on there as well. I forgot. I think Alex Isley, but it's a really good.
Yes, the niece of the runner. Okay.
Great. There's a great opener
Timmy
called
Lee,
Chosen.
welcome.
Great opener called Chosen on it.
Okay.
It's just fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look forward to listening to that. Leon, welcome. I mean, this is what one would call Janet's breakthrough album. I would say this is my favorite Janet Jackson album, and it may seem controversial. I think, yeah, it is my all-time favorite Janet album. And it was probably one of the hardest. I think, apart from two songs, 1 to 7 could have been number one. It was really hard, to pick between this. But before we talking a little about this, I mean, Jay, what has been your sort of reflections and memories around the Control album?
Janet, I used to watch Janet. I'm gonna tell my age here, but we're not trying to tell my age. But I was a kid watching Janet, So when she did Control, I saw her on as an actress. I used to watch her as an actress. So when I saw the Control video, she was coming into her own, and she was a new Janet. It was like Janet taking control, like she was taking charge. She was changing up things. She was funkier than the Dream Street album. She was just amazing. She stepped up on the stage, and this was like her Thriller. This was like Janet's Thriller. So she was giving us everything.
What about you, Stevie? What are your thoughts or reflections on this album?
When it came out, I was 12 years old, and I was obsessed by then musically with Madonna and Michael Jackson. So they were my two pop obsessions. It didn't compute in my head that Janet Jackson was Michael Jackson's sister. I was just too young. But all I remember in 1986 was two records constantly either on the radio or on Top of the Pops, and that was was it Let's Wait a While was one of them, and What Have You Done For Me Lately. I don't remember the rest of the album at 12. I just specifically remember hearing those two records. And like I say, it just didn't. I got into Janet when she released Rhythm Nation. That's really when my Janet period started of obsession. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did remember when I remember when Nasty came out, because it was it felt like it felt like a mini thriller. The kind of the music, the musicality of it, and the whole dance routine. But and also, if you ever watch Eddie Murphy's Delirious, or was it Raw? I can't remember. And he always says, Janet, you know, he had a routine where he was talking about how look at women want so much right now that look, Janet's got a new song saying, "What have you done for me lately?" And it was very much and that always stuck with me. But I remember "What Have You Done for Me Lately" was really big because I was in Nigeria going to boarding school, and that song was really big there. And as well as and then Present Principle, you know, just watching her just go to work in that video, it was like, wow. And you know, I think, you know, we look at Ribbon Nation and the Janet Jackson albums and Velvet Rope, and others have done better and sold more. But you know, as you said, you know, this was her Thriller album, meaning just 9 songs. Let's just keep it tight. And as I said, I just love it. I'm listening to it, and I actually would say I've listened to this more than any of her other albums and stuff. And it was also interesting just to see how Jimmy and Terry were able to get a part of Janet that she hadn't really been able to. She wasn't able to showcase in her first 2 albums. Big Mike, good to see you in here. Made J.
I mean, it
You
is
can
a
be
thought
Mike
for both of you and people in the comments as well. Obviously, times have changed now, but if you was a new artist now and you got signed to a major label, say you got signed to Universal or BMG or Sony or one of them big labels now, and your first, never mind 2, no, it'd be 1. If your first 2 albums just didn't sell at all, they bombed, would you even get a 3rd album? And there was, I mean, back in the 70s, 80s, there was more of bit more leeway with major labels. I'm looking at Prince. His first 3 or 4 albums just didn't really do anything, even though they had some great tracks on them. It wasn't really till 1999 that he burst out into the mainstream properly. But Janet Jackson's first 2 albums, let's have it right, I didn't even know Janet Jackson was until 1986, really.
Yeah, they had the Janet Jackson album and Dream Street, yeah.
Because of her name, was she allowed to keep a deal? Because, you know, them 2 albums didn't sell. So obviously, maybe it was all the pressure. I was watching the videos before, and there's some serious looks on her face as if to say, this is it for me. I've really got to get this right on this. This is like, I've got to blow up here or I'm finished, you know. So I reckon there's a lot riding on this album. You know, 3rd album, we'd obviously got Jam and Lewis in, paid the big dollars for the producers. And like you say, Namdi, the album sounds big for the time, really big.
Yeah, I'm just trying to quickly look and find out what year Michael Jackson's Thriller came out.
Was it
1982?
It came out in yeah. I'm just because I think that in a way, yeah, okay, 82. So November 82. So you know, he'd done Off the Wall, which was 10 million, which was a big album. So Janet did her first album, Janet Jackson, in 82. Then she did Dream Street in 84. So, you know, just in between the Thriller album, she came out with two albums which didn't do too well. And, you know, they had, it was a Victory they came out with thereafter.
Right.
It was, I think when he did Victory after that with the brothers. So I think that her dad had a lot of power in the industry, like, look, man, look at my sons, and so you have to hook up and really push my daughter. And he took control. And it's always amazing when song Control, and she's saying taking control from her dad. So you can see that it's almost like a Beyonce and Matthew Knowles, when because how much control he had within the industry because of how big Beyonce was. And as you said, I think she realized, this was do or die, and she made the choice to go to Jam and Lewis and really go in a different direction. And history was made. History was made, because there are some people that only know Jam and Lewis from working with Janet. And yeah. But anyway, Timmy was saying that she was coming off Different Strokes run. I always remember.
Thank you.
Yeah, she did Fame, she did the Different Strokes, and yeah.
I mean,
but anyway,
what Jam and Lewis were doing previously, before, because it seems to me this meet up in '86 of Janet and Flight Time. I mean, they were doing the SOS band. They had a hit with the Human
Alex
League.
O'Neill.
They had the Human League, Human Track, bit of Alexander O'Neill. So I think this was they probably couldn't believe. Wow, we got Janet Jackson to produce. It's probably a big opportunity for them. It's probably a challenge for them. Can we turn Janet into the star that she should be, really? And boy, they did it.
Lorena says, I love JJ. I'm not even going to hold anyone. But I remember listening to, I've been trying to get Jimmy on my show since 2020. And he still follows, he'll still like the videos, he'll still talk in the DM, but he prefers podcasts that he can sit down, because other than being on Zoom and stuff. But he was talking about how when Janet came, they weren't sure what to do. And they just said, okay, they just went out, and how they started off with Nasty, when they were just walking and some guys came to talk to her, and Jimmy and Terry were watching, and then she left them and says, why do you let these nasty boys talk to me? Why didn't you come in and help me? And they just said, no, we just wanted to see what you were doing. And so that's how they collaborated with Say Nasty and even the Control. So they wanted to hear her story. And all of a sudden, a lot of the songs became a reflection of her life. And which is probably, when Timbaland does talk about when you have one set of producers doing your whole album, they really are able to tell a story, like what Michael did with Quincy. And I think that's the difference when she did a previous album, just getting different producers, putting a song there, and it was not cohesive. But this just felt like it was her story. And, and I think I love some of the, I think I like how the maturity of some of the songs were. It felt authentic. It felt like relationships. It felt like it was really about her, which you could tell. And unfortunately, we don't get a lot of albums who would tell that personal stories like we did in this one. So Tony was saying that Jam and Lewis was asked by John McClane who they want to produce, and they said they wanted to do the whole album. Hey, and I think that was the best thing for them. That was the best thing for Janet, getting a sound that was just, they could capture that sound, that full sound. Okay. Yes. I'm just looking at the numbers. I thought I had it here now, and I think I thought I had the numbers here, but I think it did.
When listening to the album, did any like any of the any surprise tracks jump out at you that you thought, oh, I hadn't listened to that for a while, or I've not played that, and that's sounding really good now, or that isn't sounding good? What do you think, Miss J? Anything on this album for you?
Well, there's one that when I was real young, I thought was okay. I love everything Janet, but now listening to it, I'm like, that song doesn't belong there. It's the only one that's not done by Jam and Lewis. So
okay,
that everything else to me is like a number one. Any of these songs could be on it was hard because all of them are number ones to me, except for that one song.
Okay.
No, Jamil Judas didn't do Pressure Principle, and they, I think they didn't write "He Doesn't Know I'm Alive," but they did produce it with Spencer Bernard.
Oh, that's the first track
but
they
Pressure,
worked on. He Doesn't Know I'm Alive. They're saying that was the first track on the album that they worked on with
okay,
Janet, which was very interesting.
okay.
Who produced the Pleasure Principle then?
It was produced by, just look at it here right now. Who's this Jackson? Steve Wise, Monty Moore,
Monty Moore. Well, he was
and I
part of the
think
Flight Time crew. He was part of them.
okay, and Steve Wise, was he part of Flight Time?
I don't know, but
does
Monty
sound
Moore
familiar.
definitely was.
I think Steve Wise is part of yeah. And then Janet as well.
Now, who did "You Could
Yeah,
Be Mine"?
I think
That "You Could Be Mine" song. That was not.
that was that You Can Be Mine. That was let me see. That was the last funny how Tim when I think of you, hold on. Oh, I was looking at the You Can Be Mine. That was Jammin Lewis and Jelly Bean Johnson.
Ah, right. Old Jelly Bean. Interesting.
Yeah. It's no, but I think it was yeah. Okay, I'm just saying, yeah, everyone's just coming in. He Doesn't Know I'm Alive. That was a good one. Do you know, I think, when I was listening to it, and the He Doesn't Know I'm Alive actually stood out to me because it didn't sound like the rest of it, but it felt really, it reminded me of Bobby Brown's, is it College Girl? Not College Girl.
Girl at the Door.
Of his King of, the one he's wearing the blue jumper and he's the girl. Is it the one that he was?
I'll
be my girlfriend. Girlfriend. It felt very.
Don't sing that, please.
No, it was very innocent, and it felt like wow. It felt really. I was listening to it, and I'm thinking, well, that's like high school kind of stuff. It felt really
right.
like
Very underrated track, Namdi. Very underrated track.
Yeah. And I love the sax in it. I felt like, wow, this is really. I hadn't listened to it in a long time, but I thought
I told
that
you before, didn't
really
you? On a
good
message to say there's a big surprise track on this album for me, Namdi. And that's
Okay,
the one,
okay,
mate.
that
That's
it?
the one.
Yeah.
Really surprised me.
Yeah. Hey, Dwayne, welcome. Mr. Freak of New York, M. Moses. Yeah, that's one. Hey, Keith Cooper. Yeah, that track
people in
really.
here watching who know this album back to front. I don't. I hold my hands up. I don't. I know the singles well, and I have been playing it in and out all the week. And like I say, there's some tracks that have really jumped out at me, and great discovering some tracks like this. But I did know the singles, obviously.
Yeah, I remember I was talking to Stevie about the album. He says, I only know one or two songs. And I said, Stevie, you probably know 7 tracks in there. And I said, you know Control, you know Nasty, you know What Have You Done Lately, you know Pleasure Principle. When I Think of You, Let's Wait a While, Funny How Time Flies. Like, okay, yeah. So it was only probably 2 tracks that you probably... Yeah. I mean, as I said, it's... is there something to say about when an album just has 8 to 10 tracks? Does that really is this evidence that actually when the albums came out in the late 80s, 8 to 10 tracks, Thriller was about 8 tracks. I think the Guy album was like 9 or 10 tracks. Make It Last Forever was about 9 to 10 tracks. Is there something to say that when they were just trying to have 8 tracks, that they really made sure that the tracks were good and less was better? Or do we look at what we did with Blackstreet and we had 20 tracks? Do we think, oh, there are too many, there's more room to make mistakes and actually we're just putting fillers in? I mean, any thoughts, guys?
I never thought of it that way, but because I'm greedy. I want all the songs you can give me. I want more for my money. So, but you're right about that. It could be more room for mistakes because when they know that's kind of true, and they did narrow it down to 9. Like every song just about was a hit on albums like that. So might be onto something. I never thought of it that way.
I think this
You
is
got
where
to
I
think
sort
about
of
vinyl in the 80s and how much one side of a vinyl, I think you can get about 22, 23 minutes per side on. So if you get like 4, maybe 5 tracks maximum, if they're like 3 minutes long, you're only going to get 10 tracks maximum on, you know, unless they're really, really short. But like you say, 8 to 10 tracks, 40 to 45 minutes long, you're going to, you know, you've got enough attention span for that. So you play it over and over again. Whereas when we started getting CDs, we got our CD. So a lot of us got our CD players late. I didn't get my CD player till 1991. And I'm like, God, you've got 18 tracks to go through for 88 minutes. And all these it's too long. It's far too. It's like, and now obviously we've got playlists, which you got 60 tracks on a playlist, which you haven't got enough time in the day to sit through someone's playlist. But an 8 to 10 track album works for me. You know,
it's probably why my favorite albums are those 8 to 10 track albums, because I'm just like, I'm going through it, and as I said, apart from one track on this album, which I rated just below, I said, man, this is not easy.
Namdi, how many albums have we done now where the first 2 or 3, 9, 8, and 7 positions, they're like, oh, they're just fillers, these. Like I say, 8 to 10 tracks works because, like you say, from 6 downwards, you just know in your head that, that's my jam, that's my jam. But then top ones are like, ooh, I don't know where to put them.
Yeah. I think I just almost just guessed around because it was not possible to put number 1, just because they were just so. I mean, I'm just looking.
You not have your number 1. I definitely had my number 1. I was so sure my number 1 on this. What about you, Miss J? Was you sure of your number?
Yeah, I had a number 1 and a number 2 that all of them to me were number 1.
Okay.
But I had to think like, what was my favorite song on the album, and it hasn't really changed. So I think you'll probably be shocked what my number 1 is, but
no, I couldn't get on my number 1, but I mean, I have a number 1, but it could have switched. But just before we get into it, so the Control album released 7 out of the 9 singles,
wow.
So that's massive. It started off with What Have You Done For Me Lately, which came out in January of '86. Then Nasty came out in April of '96. When I Think of You came out in July. Control came out in October. Let's Wait a While came out January of '87. Pressure Principle came out May of '87, and then Funny How Time Flies came out in November of '87. So a year and a half, she released 7 singles of that album, and I think what you said, Stevie, earlier about the labels gave her 2 albums and still allowed her to do a 3rd one. They didn't invest so much money in the videos and in the marketing and promotion, so if you went gold, that was a massive thing. And they're releasing 7 singles. I mean, if you're in the 90s, they were just releasing 3 or 4 and moving on to the next. So they were really giving the album time to breathe, and really these. I mean, that's why as I said, the 7 singles they released, those were the easy ones for me. But I couldn't put them in any particular order. But those were the 7 ones, and it was just 2 that I hadn't really familiarize myself with, that I just wasn't too sure. So guys, we're going to go from number 9 to number 1. So as we're going through the album, you know, we start at number 9. So what's the number 9 song on this album, and then up to number 1 as we go through it. But as I said, this is probably the one album where it was hard to do the least favorite and just say, you know what, it could have been a toss that this is the number 9 and this is number 1. Yes. I think Miss J has just fainted at the thought of ranking. Okay. You woke up. Okay. I thought you just fainted. Like, we're going to have to rank it. Yeah. Okay. So Mr. Freakoff New York says Dream Sleeper is a sleeper. So that was Janet's second album, which came out. So I haven't really listened to that one, but I will give it a try. I will give it a try. Just to say that looking at her singles, though, the only song of that really charted prior to Control was a song called "Don't Stand Another Chance," which got to number 9 on the top R&B charts. Also, Young Love got to number 6 of the Janet
That's a good
Jackson
song.
album.
That's a good song.
Yeah. So they she didn't really get much success when it came to on the singles, but it's a very different story with What Have I Done With You Lately, Nasty. They all were number 1 R&B songs. Control's number 1, Let's Wait a While was number 1, and Present Principle was number 1. And When I Think of You was number 3 on the R&B charts, but number 1 on the Billboard 100. So that was her biggest track to date on well at the time. So that just shows a 10 million album seller. That was really big. And just before we start off, just remember she has 2 older sisters who didn't get the success that she had. So you can tell her she really worked hard on having to, apart from Michael and say that the Jackson 5, no one else had the success she had. So not even Jermaine or the other brothers. So you have to give her props. She isn't just Michael's younger sister. She became her own artist that did things that her older siblings. She's the last born. Her older siblings couldn't achieve. So definitely give Janet some props. And this isn't. She's not just going off the coattail of Michael.
What about those Latoya Jackson albums? I've got a few of them around somewhere. Latoya Jackson. She did an album.
Are you being serious?
She did an album with Full
Okay,
Force.
you're serious.
You'd probably like that one now.
Oh.
Yeah, with Full Force in about 1989. Yeah, where she was getting street tough with Full Force.
Saw that.
Yeah.
Wow. I think the problem with Latoya.
Do you have any Latoya records, Miss J? You must have a few. No. I'm surprised.
Only Michael and Janet.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. As I said, I would say that I didn't give her props until the Janet album, which I think was just some global hits, just but I think, to me, looked at her stuff and thought, yeah, I think Reby did Centipede. Yeah. Reby, Centipede wasn't too bad, though. It wasn't too bad.
I loved it.
But, Reby is the oldest, and she just, I think she just decided, she did, it didn't hit for her as others and stuff. All right. So we've just covered some of the background stuff, and then so now we can go into the singles and stuff. I don't mind starting, and then anyone who wants to go next. So as I said, I'm going to do my number 9. Then Miss J will do that number 9. But you guys, as you put in number 9, what song of the Control album is number 9 for you? And then we'll go up to number 8 and up to number 1. Number 9 for me is You Can Be Mine. And I think it felt a song of the time. It felt I think I listened to that and I'm thinking Beverly Hills Cop, I'm thinking 80s. But it didn't really move me and it didn't stand out. In fact, I don't think I can remember hearing it before or after. When I listened to the album, it's like, oh, that's the song. So You Can Be Mine was probably a very 80s track, and probably my least favorite on the Control album. Like Timmy Lee, she does know I'm alive. Man, goodness, what kind of a heartless man are you, Timmy Lee? He doesn't know. Oh, that's a jam there. Okay, Stevie, what about you? What's number 9 for you?
I've got to be in agreement with you there. I didn't like that record. It sounded like it sounded like something that it was made for Alexander O'Neill, and it didn't quite work for him. And it got carried over to Janet. She did it, and like you say, it just wasn't memorable. I'm just listening to the production. Some of the production in it sounds like something off Alexander O'Neill's first album. So it kind of reminded me of that, but like I say, not very. I didn't really like it. I'll be honest. That's
Yeah, okay, yeah, me too. I didn't like it, but I stayed with it. I stayed with it. Miss J, what's the least favorite on the album for you?
Well, I wouldn't say least favorite because the one you just said and this one are neck and neck for me. But I don't dislike it. But He Doesn't Really Know I'm Alive was my number 9 because that was very teeny, like young to me, like a young teeny bop type song, and it was very 80s sounding.
She was young.
Yes, but okay. I remember being a little girl relating to it actually because I was boy crazy and had a crush on everybody, but didn't tell them. So I can relate to that when I was little. But out of all the songs to pick from, I would pick that as number 9.
wow.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Guys, as you're watching along, just tell us what number 9 was. I think Timmy Lee has done so, and Mac has done so as well. Yeah, whatever song that you thought was number 9 of the 10 of the 9 tracks. I think this might be a little controversial, but as I said, I think from number 8 to 1, they could have fit anywhere. One of the things about this track is that actually I'm listening to the track and it felt to me that they had the concept of the video and they said, well, look at the video, let's make a song. Because the song very much felt as if they had the visual in mind and then they produced the track. And that's the Pressure Principle.
Wow.
As I said, I think from that point, from this point, it's pretty much not saying this is my least favorite or stuff like that. It's pretty much just saying that the songs I like just a tiny bit better. But it's an amazing song, it's an amazing video. But I felt that they actually, I think the song goes amazing with the video. I think the song and the video is just on another level. Yes, but I guess it's number 8 for me. But it's as I said, in this time frame, it did. My sort of warning out there is that from 1 to 8, they could have moved around. It's not saying it's a bad song, but it's just definitely. Mr. Freakoff, New York, thank you. Give me a chance to listen to my old CDs and vinyls. But that's I think what has been said here, Stevie, is a big part of what we've been trying to do all this years. Is actually it is celebrating the music. It's I'm sure new music is coming out now. We're not dismissing.
Let me
but
there's
there's something about
the Pleasure Principle at number 8 in your chart. Well, what is it about that record that made you put it at number 8? I'm just intrigued, Namdi. Forget the video, just as a piece of music, the song, the groove, the production. What made you put that at number 8? I'm just baffled, mate.
No, just because there are the other songs that I liked a little bit better. Yeah, it's just probably, as I said, it's one of the hardest albums I've ever ranked because there are not many songs on there. I would tell you that if we did Make It Last Forever, I could tell you my 1 to 3, and then the others would be fillers. This album was really hard. I probably had struggled doing this than any other album, and so I didn't know where to put Nasty or Control. I was like, it was a toss up. I mean, if I could do what Stevie used to do, is like put 3 songs in one position. Probably would have, but it wouldn't have made the whole interesting fun. So, but Principle, yeah.
Tony JC said he just didn't like it. That's probably more like it, isn't it?
No, but I did like it though.
Wow.
Yeah,
The
but
Pleasure
it was
Principle
the
at number 8. I'm
at number 8. But then again, it may be because Jam and Lewis didn't really write or produce it, and maybe it just seemed different from what the rest of the album was doing. But I don't know. But as I said, it's an amazing video stuff.
Somebody said, "Are you
Okay,
serious?
what
Are you
about you,
well?"
Stevie? Yeah, no, as I said, and that's the fun thing is it's one of my this is my favorite Janet album, but I have to place the songs in some particular order. Stevie, what about you? What's number 8 for
So
you?
my number 8 ended up moving quite a few places forward up the table. So my number 8,
Huh?
as I changed it, it was dead certain number 8, and I kept listening to thought, no, I'm moving up a few more places. So what? So the title track "Control" has somehow found its way at number 8.
What?
What you talking about, Willis? Is at number 8.
Oh my
Control.
goodness!
And I was watching the 9-minute. I sat through 9-minute video before, and I can now see where Bobby Brown got his influence for My Prerogative, because it's virtually the same kind of video. She's on the stage with the pigs coming round in, she's bounding across the stage, and you know that's her letting everybody know that I'm in control. You know, it's good production from Jam and Lewis. There's a key change at about 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes in, which just blows me away. I think, oh my god. The only thing I will say about her vocal on that track, it's not the best vocal on the album. So for that reason, I do like the track. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. It's a solid album track, but for some reason, it's ended up at number 8, folks. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, you know, it was a toss of a coin between when I'm picking from. Apart from that, you can be mine. All the others were just so. My mic, I was speechless. It's a really tough album, and you can see that actually we're raving about the whole album, but it's really hard when you're trying to play songs around there. So Present Principle, Control, yeah. Miss J. So the Red Golden Child is saying that's my number 1 Present Principle. It definitely is. Have you seen the video of Maya when they did a tribute to Janet, and she was just doing? I mean, it is, as I said, legendary. Based on that video alone, it's just like, you know, out of there. But it's just an amazing video. But yeah. Okay, Miss J, what's number 8?
So I agree with someone in a couple of people on the chat. Let's see who said it. Cameo 716. I agree with you. My number 8 is "You Can Be Mine." Yeah, make a move to number 8.
Okay.
That's yeah. I love Janet, but that was another one that felt like it could have been somewhere else and not this album. But it was
Sorry,
cute.
what's your number 8? Sorry.
My number
You
8.
Can Be Mine.
Oh, You Can Be Mine at number 8. Okay.
You can be mine.
Okay. Yes. So my number 7, it sounds like after they did track number 7, they kept the same formula on the Ribbon Nation album and did 4 tracks based on the same song. And let me because that was one of the things that when I'm listening to the album, listening to that track, let me see, Control remixes and Ribbon Nation now. So this track reminds me of Miss You Much, Escape, All Right. Which song would you think I'm talking about off this album that sounds similar?
Exactly what you're talking about. At least I do. Because the video's
okay, which song?
When I Think of You.
You see that? Emma got it right. When I Think of You.
Baby.
Yeah. It sounds like Miss You Much and Escape.
No, they
Right.
sound like When I Think of
yes.
Not this sounds like, they sound like, because this came before.
It did come before, but it felt as if my grievance with the River Nation, the time when we did a review, was the fact that it was almost like they just got the same type of track and mixed it around a little bit. But I think when I think of you, as I said, like I love the production, I loved everything, but I'm like, okay, they just sort of copied this formula and moved it along with the other tracks. But as I said, one to eight, I could have moved anywhere. But when I think of you, is my number 7. Beautiful track. I think I prefer this to Miss You Much and Escapade and All Right.
Is an outstanding track.
Yeah.
Great melody, great,
so
just a great pop song, pop dance R&B song.
Yeah, definitely. So that's my number 7. When I think of you,
stunned again, stunned.
As I said, this was very difficult. I'd been listening to the album almost for the last 2 weeks, and it was just really hard. I just couldn't pick, so I had to just close my eyes and just roll the dice.
Gotta be decisive, Namdi. Decisive.
This album was, as I said, very hard. 9 songs. I mean, as I mentioned, if I did Thriller, if I did Bad, I could tell you my top 3 easily, and then I can push them around. But this was not that easy. This album was not that easy. Steve, what about you? What's
number 7? I noticed in the video earlier when I was reminded, I went through all the videos about an hour before on YouTube.
Okay.
And I noticed a very young Paula Abdul was in this video, sat in the stalls. And what can I say about this track? Production-wise, absolutely groundbreaking. Some of the sounds, what Jam and Lewis did in the actual track, I don't even think had been done before. I just mind-boggling what they've done. And for a lot of reasons, you were saying that you heard certain tracks on the Rhythm Nation from When I Think of You. I can say exactly the same for this track. They use so many sounds out of this track on the Rhythm Nation. It's unbelievable. And some would argue this is the first prototype New Jack swing record. It's still straight though. It's not a swinging track, but technically the beats are still straight. But Nasty made my number 7. Amazing production. I wasn't a big fan of the song. Nasty boys, nasty, bum 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 bum. All these nasty boys and nasty, but it was very funky track.
You know that I mean, that reminded me of almost like a cartoon, like Inspector Gadget. That kind of like what kind of
I'll tell you what, she looked great in the video though. She'd lost a few pounds in that video and she was looking good.
I would say that, because somebody asked Jimmy Jam just a couple of weeks ago around, did he, Nasty, was it the first New Jack track? And he was saying, yeah, we did some of this stuff, but Teddy's still the king of New Jack Swing. And I said, I think what people are missing out is that when Nasty Boys or Control came out, the guys off the streets, weren't buying the album. So the New Jack was not the sound, it was what it made you do. It just felt like it was music that was, Teddy didn't have the fancy studio, so he was making hip hop. He was a hip hop producer doing R&B. So naturally, some of the guys who would normally listen to hip hop were like, "Oh, we can relate to this." So it was this feeling. It was a time. It wasn't about, "Oh yeah, we were swinging the music before." It was, but who were buying it? The guys of the streets will probably listen to hip hop and they weren't buying that. So that's a very big distinction of what New Jack Swing is. It wasn't just what they were doing here, it was the audience that it reached. And that's why when the late Barry Marriott Cooper wrote the New Jack Swing, it was pretty much, this was the streets feeling like this is the kind of music that we can dig to. So yeah, but not to less, it was definitely a groundbreaking track. Miss J, we didn't get to your number 7.
My number 7 is the same. It's the song that made everybody call her Miss Jackson because they nasty.
Okay, you got Nasty at number 7. I mean, yeah,
And Paula Abdul,
if we get to,
Paula Abdul was a great choreographer for that. I think she did great work with Janet for that nasty video.
You know the backflip she did in the video? Do you think that's her doing the backflip?
Yes, it is. Pleasure Principle.
Wow.
Pleasure Principle. Yes, it is.
Not in the play. I'm talking about nasty. She does it nasty as well.
I don't know about that one. I don't know if she did that one, but she said she can really do it. So
wow, I was impressed. I thought there might have been a body double, actually. But
yeah, I think I've seen a video of when Paula Abdul is teaching Janet some of the moves, and they're in the studio doing rehearsals and stuff like that. So the idea of getting Paula, who was the cheerleader with the LA Lakers, to do the choreography really really made a massive difference, giving her a different style. Because if you think about it, Stevie, being a big Madonna fan, not many women were doing the sort of the group choreography, sort of stage dancing. Almost she's one of the first to emulate what Michael was doing. And like, okay, if Michael could do it, let me do it and get other people dancing alongside of me. Everyone else was just dancing on their own and people just doing their own thing. But they tapped into what was working, which was what Michael was doing. And then she's doing it now. And now everyone is doing that, dancing with other dancers around. So getting Paula.
You look at the actual moves they were doing. I mean, they weren't Michael Jackson moves. They choreographed her own moves. And like you were saying, even now, Gen Z, 38 years on, they've copied it. It's all. But I'm not seeing in dances now. The only original kind of dancing I see is coming out of Africa, coming out of West Africa or South Africa with the Amapiano or the Nigerian Afro beats. They've got their own dance moves. But anything else, it goes back. Any dances you're seeing now, it goes back to Michael, it goes back to Janet, it goes back to Madonna, it goes back to all them times. So we've seen it. It goes back to electro, the early electro break dancing. We've seen it all before, Seen it all.
To be fair,
yes,
Michael and Janet remember they had their own television series in the 70s. So I think that Janet and Michael, because Janet was really little when she was doing that show, she was kind of used to having the choreography of other dancers all around her back then. So she was doing it way back in the 70s before she even had an album out. Her and Michael.
Yeah, I mean, they all learn how to dance and stuff like that. But I think when you think of pop videos and that sense of the main dancer and having a group of dancers around you, that was stuff that the family, both Michael and Janet, really, really pioneered, and everyone started to do. Artists afterwards. Number 6 for me is a song that I hadn't really, because it wasn't one of the original 7 tracks that were released, I didn't really hear it as much. And I wish I could have put it a little bit higher. But I've already done my list, and I feel I've already started talking about it, so I can't change it right now. And I wanted to, I really did. But He Doesn't Know That I'm Alive. I really do love this song, and I love I love how they use the saxophone and not too much of it. Brought it in, took it out. I love the lyrics of it. I love the innocence of what she's talking about, and it felt authentic. It felt like she was really talking about somebody that she really did like, and like it didn't feel as if it was just like, here's a song, sing it. And I'm just trying to look at here now. She's actually one of the co-writers of that. And so I'm listening to it. I'm like, wow, this is really good. And I wish I could have made it a little bit higher. But maybe just because it wasn't one of the songs that, it reminded me of the Toni Braxton song when we did her Toni Braxton album. She was talking about when somebody,
Love Affair.
What was it?
Was it
Love Affair? Yeah, the Love Affair song. It's just that
you like storytelling. You like the story.
I think I do like when people are telling stories in a song, and I can hear what they're saying, and they're not rushing it, and they're not mumbling over the lyrics. It makes a massive difference, and I really connect to it. That's why I love something like like I'm Leaving or Slow Wine, you can hear the story that they're telling, and it's not just singing words. So this was really such a good song. I wish I could have made it higher, but I'd already started. So He Doesn't Know I'm Alive is number 6 on my list.
Honourable number 6, Namdi. I like that. Number 6.
Yeah, Ezekiel, it was produced by Spencer Bernard, but it was actually it was written by Spencer Bernard. He produced it alongside Jam Lewis and Janet. Yeah, I don't even know Spencer Bernard. So I don't know if he's what else he's done, but that's definitely a nice little vibe. Yes, Stevie, what about you?
Honourable number 6 started off at number 8 actually when I first played through the album. And I remember first playing it. It was one of those tracks that, like you say, I didn't know. There's a couple of tracks that I thought, what are these tracks? I don't think I ever played them. And I played, and I thought, that saxophone's nice. And I thought, that groove, that groove kind of reminds me of, if anyone's bought the first 2 early 80s Kenny G albums, some of the production on them albums was by a guy called Kashif. So the groove, kind of with the sax and the groove kind of reminded me of like Kenny G, but we've got Janet Jackson singing on it. So I played the track a few more times, and I ended up playing it on my show this at lunchtime today. And I'm like, this is like my big new discovery at the moment. So I thought, you know what? I bumped it up a few more places to honourable number 6. He Doesn't Know I'm Alive. I told you.
Okay.
Like I said, I can't push it up any further because get into the realms of the big tracks next. So, but honourable number 6, what a fine little record.
Yeah,
it's like when we did the Babyface podcast and Let's Be Romantic. I just discovered that. So it's like, so it's got that feeling. And it's a shame VJ's not here tonight because I'm sure he'd have had fun with a few of the tracks on it. So, yeah, He Doesn't Know I'm Alive at number 6.
Doesn't know? Yeah, it's a really, as I said, I love storytelling, and I just love.
Did you see the post, the IG post from Troy Taylor? He was saying exactly the same thing. He's saying all these young artists he's working with today. He said that when they put the songs together in the studio, they're putting words that rhyme together. He's going, that rhymes, but what does it mean? So what you're telling me? So, well, tell me a song. He said, you've got a load of words that all rhyme together, but there's no storytelling here. And I think if you want to draw your listener in and make them play the song over and over again, you got to go back to my days. You might think I'm old or an OG or whatever, but we used to tell stories in our songs, and that's why you can still listen to them 30 years on. So, Troy Taylor, check his IG post out. It's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a story in there. And I think if we think about some of our favorite songs, there is a story in there. There's something they're saying. And that's why I talked about, I remember the Bobby Brown one, Girlfriend, just telling the story about that. Okay. Miss J, what about you? What's number 6?
Number 6, for me, okay, so the Red Golden Child said it has lasted the test of time and it still sounds good. It is what this t-shirt right here was emulated from, The Pleasure Principle.
Wow.
I was Janet for Halloween one year.
What that t-shirt you got there then?
Well, what does it say?
This is the number that was on her shirt. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
The number.
Okay.
That's what that is.
That's a nice little collector's item, isn't
it? You see my Janet over here?
Yes, nice.
Janet? I love her. Yeah. So Pleasure Principle, that video to me, she looked different. You know how she came out? You said she lost weight and control. Pleasure Principle looked like a whole different Janet. She was even more svelte. The haircut, cute. She was gorgeous, and she was doing backflips. That was really her in that video. So Pleasure Principle number 6.
Yeah, it's that was definitely a real, definitely a massive video. She just by herself doing that dance move and stuff like that. That was definitely, you have to give it.
And why is it your number? Just out of curiosity, Miss J, why is it your number 6? What is it about that record that you felt is it an honourable number 6 or a track that you don't play much? All right, fair enough.
it was, all of them are so good. I had to like listen to them again and go like, okay, is this better than that one? Is this? It was so hard to do. Like, so I had to base it on my moving. Like, am I moving right now? Am I moving more? So I played them all. I'm like, which one did I dance more to? So that's why I had to like move, like make it number 6 because I love it, but I do love it. I think I moved more when that's the only thing that made this list. I had to go based on my body movement. Like, what song was I moving and didn't even realize I was moving to?
And can you remember the last time you wore one of those Janet Jackson t-shirts?
Yes. Janet, yeah, when it was warmer outside. It's still cold here. So yeah, I wore my Janet when it
I had an 1814 Rhythm Nation tour t-shirt and I gave it to my sister and I've never seen it since. Never seen it since. I wish I didn't give it to her now. I wish I still had it.
I'm not letting nobody have my Janet shirt. No, Janet.
I've still got my Nandi. I've still got my Guy t-shirt though. Check that out. I've got a Guy, Guy t-shirt with the future written on the back.
Oh my goodness,
yes. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I never really got any of those ones, but I would definitely, if I could, it would be a collector's still in its plastic and kept away. But as I said, as we get into our top 5, it was a very difficult album to put in, but it made me appreciate Janet a lot more than I probably had given her credit for. I realized how much of a star in her own right is, and even if Michael didn't exist, Janet would still be as big as she did. And I think that was important to sort of, that I learned. At first, there was a time I just thought she was just, Michael.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that, but carry on.
No, as I said, there was a time that I felt that she was just Michael's little sister, that she's just making just because of Michael. But I think it was after the Janet album that I like. Wow, okay. I took a step
if Michael
back.
Didn't exist, Janet would still be as big. I disagree with that.
I still no. Well, if you think about,
she wouldn't even got signed, Nandi. She wouldn't even got signed. That's my opinion.
No.
Based on a vocal.
No. If we're going off of Control, if we're going off of Rhythm Nation, if we're going off of the Janet album, we weren't listening to Control. Well, maybe Control, but not Rhythm Nation or Janet as Michael's little sister.
Take Michael Jackson out of the equation. Say he didn't exist, right? And Janet wasn't called Janet. Say she was called, I don't know, Sarah Bell, and she went to A&M Records with that voice she's got. Would she got signed?
No.
And
she's got the
behind her, and she was called Sarah Bell.
No. Let's think of it.
Michael Jackson doesn't exist. Remember, Sarah Bell. She's just an everyday singer. Would she have got
Paul
signed?
Abdul? She had one of the biggest albums in the 90s, and she was just choreographer. So we're talking about if she had done the Control album with Jam and Lewis, the tracks, because now we're listening to the tracks and we're seeing her perform. So forget about her getting signed, because a lot of people can get signed. But if she got signed and this was her first album, we would be like, wow, look what she's doing. Pleasure Principle video, the Jam and Lewis production. That's what I'm referring to, as opposed to, and then she's doing the Rhythm Nation stuff when she was doing all of that stuff. That's what I'm referring to.
If your second name back then was Jackson, you're getting a record deal. You're just getting one automatically.
Yes, but it doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't guarantee success, because we've talked about Marlon didn't have success. Neither did.
He had I thought he did a little bit. Marlon did. At least he said he did on the RC.
Not Janet Jackson's success.
Those dance moves.
But he didn't have. He did. This album did 10 million. That's a lot. Going diamond, and so that's Marlon, Reby, and LaToya. They didn't have Control success.
No.
Neither did they have Rhythm Nation success. So that's where I'm referring to, that she was able to. I mean, they got the record deal because of the brothers, but this is when she made a difference. Yeah. Anyway, number 5 for me, and I think Nasty is not my number 5. It was such it does give me the thriller vibes of the whole video,
Theater.
the instrumental stuff in there. But also, I think it was. Excuse me, I'm Janet Stan. Oh, who's Janet Stan? Oh, what did okay, is that who you just said?
I'm a
Stevie?
Janet
You
Stan.
just made up an.
Oh, those stands are going to come for me now, aren't they? Oh, they're going to come for me now, aren't they? Never mind the Beyonce stands, Janet stands.
I don't know if they're bad like Beyonce's.
Oh
fans.
dear. Hey, I'm only just warming up, you know. I've got a
Okay.
few comments coming up that are going to be like, whoa.
Yeah, I just think that I think she became a big entertainer with her performance and actually the creativity of a video. But I just love Nasty. It was very different. It was a very different type of track, and an arrangement by the guys, and yeah, Nasty Boy and the whole callback and stuff like that. It just felt it's. I wouldn't say it was. It just felt really good, very interesting. It stood out to me. And what was it? I'm just trying to check now. It was the second single that came out. And it was it was number 1 on the R&B charts, number 3 on the pop charts. So, other than When I Think of You, it was her second biggest single on Billboard 100 at the time. So, Nasty was definitely my number 5. Nasty boys don't mean a thing. Dun, 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 all you nasty girls. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I haven't heard any of the remixes. I don't know if remixes were as big back in '86 or stuff. But it'd be interesting if they had done it and stuff. Stevie, what about you? What's number 5 for you?
Number 5, yeah, right. I remember when I was buying my new Jack records in the early 90s. And my DJ friend at the time had taken me around record shops because he was older, and he'd just be putting records from the 80s in my hand, going, Steve, it's £1, just buy it. And I'm like, it'd be some soul singer from like 1985, and he's got the Jerry curl and he's got the pads, and I'm like, why are you making me buy it? He says, because there's a great soul track on it, but they just sounded like so dated, like mid 80s, like all these and if you put it on your shelf, I promise one day you'll appreciate it. And boy, is he so right. So when I look at this video now, it's 1986. I'm looking at the video. In probably 1992, 93, probably it would have looked so dated. But 38 years on now, I don't know what fashion is like in America at the youth at the moment. But fashion right now is a clash with the youth in the UK between, I'd say, early to mid 80s. They're all dressing 80s, like you see in this video, with the pads and everything. And some of them are dressing 90s. They don't know whether to go 80s or 90s at the minute. But I'm just so happy that the gay fashion that we've had for the last decade of tight jeans, tight shirts that guys have been wearing, very camp, very gay. I'm so glad that he's out, because I can't. My legs can't get in tight jeans anymore. I've got to go Kanye West baggy. So I'm happy that 80s fashion's back in. I'm happy that I think 90s fashion's coming back as well. But this video, 38 years on, looks incredible now. Incredible. It's still a very camp record. What have you done for me lately? It's very.
Are you moving shoulders?
It's a great pop record. It is a great. Even there was a new Jack record that used that, and one of the girls, they used it in Do the What. Ooh, yeah. So yeah, what have you done for me lately? Great video. Looks fantastic now in the year 2025. Right on time, fashion wise. Brilliant. Number 5.
Number 5. Okay.
Do you know choreography? Are you doing like shoulder movements from the video?
Listen. Back in my clubbing days, I used to. What was the term we used to? It was called drop some foot. I used to drop some foot on the club floors. I'd be a good dancer. I can't do it now. Back then I could coordinate my feet and, you know, do a bit. Yeah, I did a bit. Yeah.
It's called, say it again, drop some what?
Drop some foot, called dropping foot.
Oh, that sounds like you're cussing somebody out. I don't know.
What did you put, Miss J?
Number 5 is When I Think of You.
When I think of you.
you.
How did that not make Nandy's top 5?
I think because it reminded me of the 3 songs in Rhythm Nation, which, and I wasn't a big fan of that album at all, apart from All Right. So I think it just brought nostalgia. Yeah, that whole Rhythm Nation video, I didn't warm to it, and I didn't understand all the hype. Yeah, I didn't understand all the hype. So I think when I'm listening to When I Think of You, it just takes me to that album, and somehow I'm just like, you know, yeah, I just don't know what happened. But yeah, that's why it's number 6 for me. But you had it at number 5. So
What made you put that at number 5, Miss J?
The scatting, whatever that's called, she was doing. I love it. And that everything about that song, like,
it's so melodic, isn't it? The melody in it is just fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. I love what she did with her voice. It was just so many different parts of that song to me. Like I didn't think about the comparison to the other album, but I do love those songs too. And I do know a lot of artists do, especially in the 80s, it seemed like they followed the formula that they knew worked, and they would try to replicate it in some kind of way, like interpolate it. But yeah, I just in Pleasure Principle, she did that too, a bit of scatting, and I love when they do that. Like her and Michael does it too, and I love it.
I'm just interested in your thoughts, because this is 86. Michael Jackson releases Bad in 87, a year later. Which do you listen to more, this album or the Bad album?
Of course, my man.
I know you like Michael, but you know, I'm
just thinking, Michael.
Would you say there's more songs, a lot more songs that you like on that album than this album? It's a bit all over the place, isn't it? The Bad album. It's a bit of a clash, a mishmash, isn't it, of sounds?
I don't think so, but he likes to give different elements, you know, like the rock. I guess I can see what you mean, like with Dirty Diana, and then Stevie Wonder's song Jessica Friends. That's like a
Liberian Girl sounds nothing like Dirty Diana, is it really?
But they all sound good to me.
Yeah, they do. So you prefer the Bad album to this then?
I think I played Bad more than this. Okay. Like throughout my life, Bad was still going to be still Dirty Diana, still Just Good Friends. This one I haven't even played in years. Even though I love Janet, I actually played Design of the Decade that has like a combination of, you know,
that's a good compilation now.
So I play that, but Bad I'm gonna play all the time. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, those early Michaels, you know, yeah, I mean, another part of me is one of my, you know, it's amazing. I love that.
We will get to the Bad album though.
Yeah, we'll get to the Bad album.
So the album is really brought to the forefront. I'm going to play this a lot more, I think, now. You know, after this, because like you say, it's some fantastic stuff on it.
It is.
Yes. Number 4 for me, I think, you know, apart from just being the title song on the album, I just think just employ everyone. Just when you listen to the lyrics, you know, when she talks about, you know, about getting control from her dad, her mom molded her, which is great, but now she's in control, and what a difference it makes. She's prophesying about taking control, and look at how her career blew up. So her dad is probably looking and saying, "Wow, you did 10 million." And when I did your first 2 albums, we couldn't even do a bucket. You know, we had to drive around with the extra CDs. And so it makes a difference when you're saying, look, I need to take control of what I'm doing. Was there a Janet movie, or was it the Jackson? I can't remember.
No Janet
or
movie.
was it there wasn't a Janet movie. Maybe it was the Jackson family movie or stuff like that. But yeah, I just loved I love Control. I love how funky it is. I love the Minnesota sound with this. And I love when she's got Jam and Lewis on stage with her, and they're like, yeah, man, we're here, you know. I wonder where Suge Knight was when he saw Jam and Lewis dancing in the video. He has the nerve of talking about Puffy dancing in Biggie's video. Why didn't he? Why did he have a go with Jam and Lewis for dancing in Janet's Control video as
I
they were
think he's
doing their
referring to
stuff?
the rapping, Namdi, not the dancing, the rapping.
No, he said in the Saucer Word, you have producers dancing all over your
All in the
videos and
video.
stuff.
He meant rapping as well.
All in the videos.
Those awful puppy raps that we had to endure back then.
He talked about them dancing. I'm like, why did he talk about Jam and Lewis dancing in the video?
They could dance
Control
though.
and stuff
Puffy,
like that.
Puffy couldn't dance, but Jam and Lewis can actually dance.
Yeah, no, no, Puffy. As much as we, he's all his stuff. He did have his swag and stuff. But anyway, yeah, Control is number 4 for me. As I said, I love how she. I mean, this album could have tanked, and she's already talking about taking control, and it could have tanked. But she said they had the video, she had the song, and actually it showed a difference between what she was singing about and how important it was for it. Yeah. So Control.
We
definitely
got the
is
Janet
my
Stan
number 4.
there saying Bad is not comparable, but this album is easy to playlist on streaming platforms. Janet's catalogue is fail proof on any motorway drive. Yep. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, DJ all day. We haven't seen you in a while.
Does he DJ all night as well?
Bobby's
Does he DJ all night as well as all day?
Okay, a little Stevie joke there.
Bad one.
Yeah. So yes, so that's Control's number 4 for me. Stevie, what's number 4?
Control was number 4. That high up for you?
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
It's not a great song though, is it? I mean, that's why I'm so surprised. It's like you've got that at number 4 because it's not really. It's a groove and it's a nice groove and it goes on a bit too long, but it's not a great song, is it? I mean,
but as I mentioned, when you get to 1 to 8,
I think of you, what number was that at? That's a
number
far
7.
better song now. As a song, far better song.
Yeah. As I said, it triggers memories of the Rumination album, which I wasn't overly fond of, and so.
Stop saying that.
But I knew
I
that
can't believe you're saying that.
And I wasn't a big fan of Rumination, so it triggers memories of that. So yeah, Control is number 4. Yes. What about your number 4?
This actually on my first draft made it to number 3. I pushed it up to number 4. It's killing me to do that because I think this is the classiest track on the album. It's got, oh gosh, it's just the chorus just kills me. Funny how time flies. Funny how the way it drops. Oh my gosh. You could hear that on any like smooth jazz radio playlist, any Quiet Storm playlist. Beautiful record. Absolutely. Wasn't a single though, and I've noticed it's getting sampled a lot today. There's a lot of rappers, others.
It was the last single
and all sorts of things.
It was the last single. It came out in November 97.
Was it?
It didn't do too well. Yeah. I don't know if there was a video, but I thought there was.
As Will says, I'm about to smack Stevie. Wow. Ooh, matron. Ooh, matron.
That didn't have a video, but Let's Wait a While did.
It didn't. Okay, and maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, but it did better in the UK than it did. It got to them. It didn't make the top 4 in the UK, but it did better.
Funny how time. Oh, amazing track.
There is I remember when I interviewed Coco from SWV.
His name dropping again. Oh, I remember when I interviewed Coco from SWV. Oh,
and Coco had done a video with her ex-husband where she was singing "Funny How Time Flies" and she was remixing some songs. Janet saw that video and wrote on Twitter, "Shout out to Coco for singing my song." And then, and I asked Coco, and Coco said that she went crazy, that Janet knows who she is and stuff like that. And if you check out the video, it's Coco singing "Funny How Time Flies."
Have you heard her son's new
Um,
single?
Yes.
Very good. Very good record.
Yes. J.
Yeah.
Michael.
I started following him, and then I thought,
Okay.
well, I played his record and thought, who is this guy? And then I followed him and thought, oh, it's Coco's son.
Yeah.
Great little record he's got. Have you heard it, Miss J? If you've not heard it yet, do have a listen.
Not the whole thing. I've seen him on social media singing.
Very good R&B record.
Mm.
Funny How Time Flies sounds very reminiscent of Lady in My Life. Interesting. Now Namdi will feel
There's a
about
mashup of the two.
That's your favourite record. That.
I think there was a matchup. I think she's done one. Okay.
Did you know that Namdi's all-time favourite Michael Jackson record is "Lady in My Life"? Everybody, if you didn't know
Okay.
now, you know now.
No, it isn't my all-time favorite.
It tells us every podcast, but
it is my all-time favorite song ever. So not just Michael Jackson, it's his song ever.
Yeah.
So it is, yes. So anyway, so we're at number 4. Miss J, what's your number 4?
You used to do nice things for me, but what have you done for me lately?
Ooh. Number 4.
That's my number 4.
Okay.
I could definitely see you in that jacket with the pads on.
I would have.
I think that fit you very nicely, Miss J. That jacket.
I would love to wear Janet's clothes.
And that gold shirt that she wears in the video as well.
Oh yes, you got a good eye for remembering fashion, don't you?
Well, I was just saying I was watching the videos earlier, so it's all like really fresh in the memory at the moment.
Fresh in your mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stevie, you see what DJ All Day was saying? Have you heard of Lisa Keith?
Lisa Keith, Making Love in the Rain. That featured Janet. It's on Herb Albert album from about 87, I think that album is.
Diamonds?
Yeah, with Diamonds on. 2 great tracks on that album. Brilliant.
I think you mentioned that before, didn't you? I can't remember what album we were reviewing that you did mention. You did mention her. Maybe when we did a Jam and Lewis top 10 or so.
Yeah,
was it?
yeah.
Or so?
Making Love in the Rain
you brought
is
it
just
up.
an amazing record. Amazing. So what are your memories of what have you done for me lately then, Miss J? Mind you, like I say, I was 12 back then. I was 12.
Wasn't that in the, see, I didn't watch it again, the video, but I think wasn't that Just Like Nasty? It was in a movie theater, right?
They're in a diner. They're in a diner dancing.
They're in a diner.
Okay, only in a diner. They didn't go to the movies in that one. That was Nasty, I guess. Okay. Yeah, and the guy that's in that video, she had a guy in her video that's no longer a guy. That was very, So I remember, you know what I'm talking about? The guy that plays.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is a she now.
I'm just thinking, do people in America still go on dates in diners? Because over here they go on dates in like Starbucks or Costa Coffee. But in America, do they still go to the diner for a date? I don't know.
I don't know either.
You know, with the ice cream, the cherry on top. I'm looking. So. You know,
going they could. Diners don't really exist. I don't know. I don't.
Is there any diners near you, Miss J?
Are there any diners near me?
Yeah, any diners near you?
Not that I would go to.
Well, you might get your pancakes, strawberry pancakes there. You know.
I have to go.
You think about Happy Days?
Happy Days. Yeah. Oh yeah, we all like Happy Days.
The Happy Days going in a diner, or even Back to the Future in a diner stuff.
Yeah, and I remember them Happy Days, and you'd wait about 10 minutes for the big entrance of the Fonz, and everyone, hey, the Fonz coming in here he is, the Fonz. You know, that big grand entrance to the Fonz with his jacket on, his black legs.
Somebody said the tea spilling, Miss J.
Oh goodness. Yeah, so he switched teams to avoid doing something to her lately. Yeah, as I said, Yeah, he was the love interest, and now he's somebody else's love interest. Yeah, he switched. Top three now. Top three. Um, this track, I think, if it was released in the '90s, late '90s, it would still be a hit. And I think it was. It's one of these songs that have tested, that really stayed the test of time.
Stood.
Let's wait a while. Stood the test of time. Let's stay a while. Let's wait a while. It was, the kind of production that if you still played, as I said, if you still were to produce it, even now, um, you know, but it's lyrically, it's not stuff that they've been singing about since mid '90s. But that's the thing about what I loved about the lyrics in this is that she's talking about a relationship, like, yeah, maybe she slow it down. Almost like Lisa and Cult Jam. It's like, I wonder if I take you home, would you still be in love with me? But even with this, he said, let's wait a while, let's not move too slow, and let's take our time. But there was something about this whole album that she was not getting too ahead of herself, and it was really almost like a concept album about herself and and relationships and how she was taking relationships. And yes, so let's wait a while. Really loved the song, and I think, as I said, if it was released today, well, not today, I think lyrically they wouldn't accept it, but if it was released production wise,
it wouldn't be accepted.
I don't know if they. I mean. Yeah, the lyrics. I mean, the way that when you've got "Sexy Red" and all the stuff that's being spewed out. I don't know. Even "Money Love." I don't know if girls are
Sexy
listening
Red
to
saying,
this.
"Let's wait a while." I don't think so. I don't think so.
It might help if it was released now. I don't know. Maybe
it might be. Yeah, might. But that's the beauty of the song, was just the story, just the sense of innocent love. And when we do Brandy tomorrow, there's a sense of how the songs were just right for her compared to Usher's debut album, which is one of my favorite albums, but it was too mature for him. But as I said, what I loved about what Janet did here in this song, it just was right. So yes, Let's Wait a While is definitely my number 3 album.
Wow.
Stevie, what about
my number
you?
3, I think the Janet Jackson stands and might be coming for me now. I love this record. I watched the video earlier because I thought, was there a video of this? And I watched it and I'm like, I've just realized that Michael Jackson, what was this, Sexy Red Baby? Hey, yeah, definitely.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, definitely. But I just realized Michael and Janet obviously had a fascination with, is it the West Side Story, the theatre thing? Because the video's like, it's like something out of a West Side Story, like theatre production. They're all dancing. But what kind of like shocked me was how, and dare I say this, and you Janet stands are going to have me for this now, was how chubby she looked. How chubby and like how big she looked. And I'm like, oh my God, you can't say that. You can't say that Janet looks chubby. You can't say that, Steve, that Janet looks chubby.
She was still cute. She was happy and fine.
Gary, Stevie said Janet looks chubby. You can't say chubby. You can't say that. But yeah, she looked a bit chubby in that. I was shocked. Compared to some of the other videos where she's looking good and she's lost a few pounds. But when I think of you, chubbiness aside, that's my number 3.
She was gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yes.
Bit chubby for me.
Yes.
It's like some guy you've dated for a long time, or you get married or whatever, and the guy just lets himself go and he gets too big, and you're like, what's gone on here? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, when I think of you,
Risa and I used to work together. When I think of you, what is this? Is this song on Rhythm Nation? I liked. called Some. Is this Someday? I don't know the song that does similar to Let's Wait a While. Um, Stevie has called Miss President Principal Janet Jackson chubby. Goodness.
Well, in that video,
In that video, okay.
I think George used to battle with her weight, didn't she? She had a few weight issues. So,
now, are you confusing it to Luther? Well, I think by the time she got to the Janet album, she corrected to the Janet album.
She corrected
Oh,
me on the
Some
album.
Days Tonight. Okay, that's Razor. That's it. Some Days Tonight.
She was chubby on the first videos with this album, and she ended up getting slimmer. Like Pleasure Principle was the same album, and she slimmed down already.
Mhm.
So she was going through
Yeah.
some things. You know?
Yeah, actually, Razor's right. That Someday is Tonight. It does sound like Let's Wait a While. Very similar to the. But and that's what I said. It took a lot of the blueprint from the Control album into Rhythm Nation. And DJ All Day says if we took Tony Thompson and put him on the Usher album, it would have made a much better classic. That was I don't know. I mean, I think Usher did a good job on that album.
the first album.
It's just
Good
his debut album. Anyway, somebody's tonight. Excuse my typo. That's fine. Reset. Okay, Miss J, number 3 for you.
There's something about her and Michael being named Joe. Is Janet Demita Joe is Michael Joseph Jackson. That Joe and them is going to make them snap and get control of their life. That is my number 3 control. Janet Jackson.
Wow.
Janet Demita Joe Jackson.
Okay, did he put his name in all his kids?
Only maybe 2 or 3. I think it's Michael and Janet have Joe, and then maybe Joe. Yeah, and Giovanni. Giovanni's a Joe because her name is Giovanni. That's the one by the mistress.
Okay. By the mistress.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't know he had mistress. I thought he was a loving father and a faithful husband.
Oh, okay. But they had it in the movie, Joe. I don't want you. I don't want you no more. Remember that? That was because
Angela Bassett, right?
Yes. He was cheating on her with the side chick mistress that was obsessed with Jackie, but he slept with her and then made a baby. Yeah.
What he had a side chick, Miss J? A side
Yes,
chick?
Joe. Yes.
Wow.
Joe had a couple of side chicks.
Yeah,
Captain beat one of them up.
every good man should have a side chick. And it
Stevie, you acting up. You acting up.
isn't that right, Namdi? Isn't that right, Namdi? Every good man should have a side chick, especially if your wife's away. You know what I mean? You know, yeah. Anyway, let's move on before I get myself in trouble.
Before you get into trouble.
Yes.
My number 2 is I love the video. Love the 80s fashion. But also love the fact that it was raw. It was raw. Eddie Murphy's Raw, where he says that even Janet has a song. You know, women demanding, "What have you done for? What have you done for me lately?" Women saying, "You know, you need a job if you want to be with me," and it was funny. But there's something about that track that was really big when I was in Nigeria. What have you done for me lately? It was a massive track, and really, love the track, love the dancing, love the seriousness of the shoulder popping and pop locking and stuff like that. So, what have you done for me lately? Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, yeah, that's number 2 for me. Stevie, what's number 2?
Number 2 for me. I want to give a bit of advice here to any guys under the age of 30 who might be watching this podcast, because this relates to my number 2. Women, hold the keys. fellas. They hold the keys to that golden word that most guys get up in the morning and chase. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about sex. Women hold the keys to sex. If you want sex with a woman, they hold the keys. But remember this, you hold the keys.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So a relationship. You hold the keys because the women want the relationship, the men want the sex. So you hold the keys to relationships. So what do women do? They want you to wait a while. Let's Wait a While is at number 2. This amazing song where she's very innocently saying, please, if you really like me, I know you want to go there. I know you as a man, you want to do your thing, but I hold the keys. And that's what I'm saying. Let's wait a while. Does this man like her enough more than just a pump and a dump? Sorry to use
Lord, pump and a dump.
A pump and a dump. Does he like me more than a pump and a dump? Does he want a relationship? I told you, we hold the key to that night because everyone is seeking that security, that longevity. So just remember, guys under the age of 30, you hold those critical keys when you're chasing that sweet feeling. Just remember that. So Let's Wait a While is at number 2 for me. Number 2. I think it's an incredible song. I think the video is incredible. And I was watching it earlier and I felt a little tear. A tear rolling down me as so Let's Wait a While is at number 2.
A tear from his cold heart.
Oh,
can you imagine that?
You had a single Denzel Washington tear?
Yeah, from Glory when he got smacked. Let's wait a while before. But that's the thing about the album is that it's Let's Wait a While, or He Doesn't Know That I'm Alive. Just the lyrics and the innocence of the album. I think I'm appreciating the albums now, listening to them today, than I did 20 years ago. Because back then we were just getting so much stuff that you could listen, that's great, and move on. But because we've been starved of quality, good music, when you're now reflecting and you're now like, wow, they took their time, made sure lyrically they weren't just, as Troy Taylor was saying, let's just find a word that rhymes with this. Let's tell a story that actually reflects where you are, and then it becomes more believable. So definitely a beautiful song. Let's Wait a While, and that's my number 3, and that's Stevie's number 2. Okay.
So it's your
Jay,
number
what's
2
your
as well.
number 2?
So it's your number 2 as well. What was your number?
It was my number 3. My number 3, but that was your number 2. So yeah, not too far back.
So
what about you, Miss J?
Miss J, number 2.
I never give up on you. Let's wait a while. That's my number 2. It was almost my number 1, but I was gonna show you the picture, the video. Now I do love her, but I know the ladies looking at the video like, how you gonna be with that fine man, Bruce Leroy, and wait a while? Yeah, because he was kind of mad in that video because he wasn't getting what he wanted. But yeah, Let's Wait a While had a good message and made people think, younger people even think like, oh, okay, it's cool to wait. We don't have to give up the cookies right away. So Let's Wait a While was a good message. Stevie, I agree with you on that, but I don't know about that one tear. What you have a one tear for the video?
You know, the tear got me, stirred me up a bit. Well, like I say, fellas, if you make the right, if you say the right things, make the right moves, them keys will be unlocked. They'll go in the door.
Oh, Lord.
And that shutter will go up. That shutter will go up for you. Saying, ladies, when a lady likes you, that shutter goes up. When she doesn't like you, the shutter comes down. Always.
No, I think it's strange how the song felt in place, but today we're not getting that and stuff. Okay, so we're gonna go to our number 1 track right now, but before doing that, we'll count down from 9 down to 1. So my number 9 was You Can Be Mine. Number 8 was Pleasure Principle. Number 7 was When I Think of You. Number 6, I wish I could have lifted it higher, but He Doesn't Know That I'm Alive. 5 is Nasty. Number 4 is Control. Number 3, it's Let's Wait a While. Number 2, it's What Have You Done for Me Lately? And this number 1 is another track that I think wouldn't have been out of place on Velvet Rope, wouldn't have been out of place on anything that she did. It is, as Ezekiel says, she listened to Thriller and says, Jimmy, Terry, I want my own version of The Lady in My Life. And they said, okay, let's flip it and call it Funny How Time Flies.
Wow.
And as I said, there is no way that, anything that comes close to my favorite song, but it is the same vibe. It is just, it takes its time. It just flows. And Mac got it as one undisputed number 1 song on the album. It's a song that actually, as I said, you play it now, it just feels, it feels like it could be done now. And it's a timeless track. But I just love that track. And I'm going to, after we finish tonight, I'm going to re-upload the track with Coco singing it, because she was just almost freestyling with songs, and she just started using Funny How Time Flies, and I was like, wow, it is such a beautiful song. And as I said, my undisputed number 1 song on the Control album.
It's a great choice, Namdi. Great choice.
Yes. You're not gonna sing it? Where are your vocals on this? I want to hear you.
No.
Hey, some songs, as I said, even if we did Late in My Life, I wouldn't sing it, but just because it's too special. So I just love, and I don't want to get the tear that Stevie had drop into my eye.
Okay.
the Denzel Washington glory tear that just stone face and the tear just rolls down. But no, Funny How Time Flies. Stevie.
Right, my number 9, because You Can Be Mine. Number 8 was Control. Number 7 was Nasty. Number 6, He Doesn't Know I'm Alive, which has been my really big surprise track of the week. That really enjoying that at the moment.
Definitely.
Number 5, What Have You Done for Me Lately? Very just a classic camp pop record. It's true though. It's true. Number 4 is your number 1. I mean, Funny How Time Flies. I think the only reason it wasn't as it got to number 3, I just haven't listened to it a lot, and I should, because it is a great record. There's can't argue with it. Number 3 was When I Think of You. Number 2 was Let's Wait a While. Just going back to my 1986 Top of the Pops memories, and always seeing it on Top of the Pops and on any video channels. But my number 1, probably for the reason I got into black music in the first place. Black music has a groove that I feel that rock doesn't. I'm just going to be blunt about it. Black music always has that rhythm. It has that groove, the funk. It just makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. And this record has all the reasons I got into black music are in this record. I think it's an amazing video. She's in the video on her own, doing dancing. She just, the moves in it are incredible. But the groove, it's even some of you may have heard the remix done by Shep Pettibone, which is about 7.5 minutes long. But the Pleasure Principle makes my number 1. I think it's an outstanding record, outstanding groove. So that for me is what it's all about.
Okay, I'm sure you've got the red golden child is definitely on your side there.
I might
Low tone composers. It made it quick.
Yeah, the Janet stands are suddenly back in my favour now.
Yeah, don't talk about her being chubby.
Yeah. As I said, to me there's no right or wrong answer, but to me that was I'm listening to that video. I'm watching that video and I'm thinking, the song, it's almost like they had the idea for the video and they made the song, because that's how perfect it definitely is. But yeah, no, definitely can't deny that one at all.
The Shep's remix, Shep is an absolute screamer on the remix album.
Yeah, but if you think about that video, I mean, has there been a video that Michael did just on his own, doing that kind of move?
I don't remember
Miss J?
if he did. Don't remember if he did.
Yeah.
You're saying
Can
comparable
we
to
think of a video?
Principle?
Yeah. Is there thinking that he's just been like, okay, I'm just going to showcase. I mean, the end of Black and White, maybe, but that wasn't, he wasn't really dancing like that. He didn't really say, okay, let me just do my moves like that. So that's
In the closet?
that's really brave.
A little bit.
He didn't really dance in that in the closet. That was my big thing, that he didn't really dance. He didn't really dance. But I think if we're thinking about what
moving them hips to me and keep it in the closet.
Yeah, but he wasn't doing what Janet was doing in Present Principle. I mean, she just said, okay, let me show you what I can do. She was, I mean, look. Michael is number one, but I would say that Janet said, I'm just almost like Janet was just going in, doing a box and getting ready for a match, and she just said, I'm just going to do some training. I mean, as I said, she came into her own with this album, and so I've got nothing but mad respect for Janet, because she wasn't copying her brother, and she wasn't copying anybody. Madonna couldn't do that. I don't know if any female artist at the time, barring, say, Paula Abdul, who came out a couple of years later, could do Present Principle at that time. You may get people doing it now, but at that time, I don't know how many artists could do Present Principle, the video.
I think Paula could have. Paula could have. Paula was a great choreographer.
Yeah, but Paula's, but at the time, I don't think anybody was brave enough to say, just watch me do what I'm doing. She was just pretty much saying, just watch me. I'm going to show you what I can do. That's bravery out there. I don't think anyone was doing that. That's why I respect Janet so much. It's just like, I'm just going to do stuff that no one else is doing. And even, as I said, Michael didn't do many of that. He had his dances. He was the greatest. No doubting. But that was just Janet on her own. And I'm just thinking of anyone else. I don't know who else is doing it.
Just a shame a vocal didn't live up to her dance moves. Ooh, did I really say that?
You better watch it.
Did I really just say
Because no, I like Janet. Now, I love me some Janet too. Her voice may not be Whitney.
Okay, you said rock with you.
If you're gonna love Sade and you're gonna love Maya, you gotta love Janet too. If you're gonna like Aaliyah, you gotta love Janet.
Not a huge fan of Maya, I'll be honest. I'm a fan of Sade, but Maya, I can take or leave her any day.
I'll take her. I'll take Janet.
Okay.
I'll take Janet. I appreciate her.
Well,
Janet has given us so much.
She has.
I mean,
yeah, I think
she's triple threat.
They're saying rock with you, but he wasn't really. I mean, that's not Pleasure Principle kind of. I'm going to just show you what I can do. I think, rock with you, who's just dead.
Rock with you, bad buddy. Oh Lord. Woo.
Yeah, but it's not Pleasure Principle.
I see what you're saying, but he was still by himself, and he was doing.
Yeah,
he was giving us something. He was making us. Yeah, they know what it.
Michael's on another level, as I said, but I just have to admire for Janet on that. But also, I think there's been a lot of people who try to have stick with Janet vocally, but she sings live, and she's got a distinct tone with her vocals, and she's never said that she is an Aretha Franklin or Whitney Houston, but she was a triple threat with her singing, her dancing, and her performances as well. Beyonce, yes, definitely has an amazing vocal and is definitely an amazing performer. But it's easy to look at what others have done and say, well, need to learn, I need to do this in order to take it to another level. And Miss J, let's go for your 9 all the way to number 1.
Number 9, he doesn't know I'm alive. 8. Wait, yeah, 8. You Can Be Mine. 7. Next there. Pleasure Principle, number 6. Said the backflip is top tier. 5. When I Think of You. Oh, you know, in that video, does she taste some food? Like she run around with a glove on and she tastes some food off a glove. I think she did that in a video. I haven't seen that video in a long time, by the way. But you were just watching it recently. Number 4, What Have You Done For Me Lately? 3, Control. 2, Let's Wait a While with the gorgeous Ty Mock as her leading man. And number 1 is Don't You Go Nowhere. No, wait, that's Michael Jackson. But you know, it's the sister video to the song. It's the brother, it's the sister to the Lady of My Life song. And that is Funny How Time Flies When You're Having Fun. My number 1.
Interesting.
I didn't think you would agree with me, but you did.
Wow.
Number 1.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, very few people, I think, yeah, definitely. Okay, guys. People are telling about Michael Jackson and his Motown 25. Look, Michael is the king and stuff like that. I'm just saying that video-wise, Janet, it's very rare to see anyone other female just saying, I'm just going to dance and do that stuff. So, but yeah. But it's interesting that we both were number 1 with the same track, Funny How Time Flies.
Right.
Definitely love the track. And she knows her vocal limits, yes, definitely. But she has that really soft, she can really get
Very
soft and
whispery,
tender
whispery voice at times, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm probably one of the few people who didn't really
Don't say it.
rate Aaliyah as much as most people do. I know she had a very unique style and vocal, but I in the 90s, I was very much into large voices, so like a Coco or Brownstone and stuff. So Aaliyah's type of almost mumbling as she's singing type of stuff, which is very common now. I wasn't a massive song, but she was helped by producers, either the first album with R. Kelly or the subsequent ones with Timbaland and Missy. So musically, she was really good. I think Janet knew her range, and she knew, and Jam and Lewis knew what type of songs to put her in. And but when she does her, what was the song that the R. Kelly did the remix? Anytime, Any Place. You know,
that was wonderful.
I've seen her sing. I've seen her sing live, singing it live as well. Yes.
Emily
so yeah,
play.
rest in peace to Tito. So guys, just on reflection, Stevie, I mean, how challenging was it? Easy to do this, to place your rank this album?
I did 3 drafts in the end. 3 drafts, but I've enjoyed rediscovering or discovering this album because, like you say, I didn't play a lot of it, just some of the singles. And even just watching the videos this evening, I'm like, wow.
Oh, you did that? You went back
I
and
watched all the videos. Some epic videos there. Obviously, they spent a lot of money there. The label spent a lot of money at this. It's a good thing it sold because she'd have been down the road if this wouldn't have sold after this album. I don't think she would have got a deal again after this. She'd have been on Ichiban Records in Atlanta or somewhere if this album hadn't have sold. But yeah, like you say, it's, you know, some of the tracks stand the test of time, like your number 1, like you've just said there. Some great grooves, some great production on the album, and a lot of great memories for people as well. So, yeah.
Miss J, what about you? What's your feedback on it?
I can't believe I haven't played it as much. Like I haven't, like all year. This is my first time, I think, playing the album. And I went to my rack of Jacksons. You know, I got a rack of Jacksons over here. And I'm like, where's my Janet Control album? I don't have a Control album. I had it, I'm going to date myself, but I had it on another form that people don't play anymore. My sister worked at a record store, so she would give me cassettes, CDs, vinyl, all that stuff. So I have a cassette from my sister when she worked at the record store. So I had that, and I'm mad. I'm like, I'm just now realizing I don't have this. I have it on cassette. I can't play that. I'm so mad at myself that I don't even just go back and play this album. I just go to the Design of the Decade. Somebody said 24 Play. That was like the first song that jumped off 24 Play, you know, her greatest hits album. I do listen to that. This right here, you can dance to this. You could, it's awesome. It's awesome. Wonderful. Amazing. Janet, it made her, like you said, the first albums, it made her like stand out as an entertainer to me. This album, she became like inspiration and icon to me, to so many people, because her fashion, even though she was small, you know, she ended up getting small in this album. You said she was chubby. She started off chubby and gorgeous, but she ended up getting slender. That principle, the backflip, the hair, the fashions. Janet was everything. This album made Janet a standout star to compare to her brother. You know, I love this album.
Yeah.
And I'm going to listen to it some more after we are done today.
Yeah, I've done it throughout the day, and as I said, so when we're ranking it, guys, and I really appreciate everyone who has joined in and been part of it. I know David Yardley just came in a little bit late, but for everyone else that's joined in, we appreciate you. You know, we don't do this without you guys joining in. And it's a testament to Janet that, as I said, this is a really solid album, and eventually we'll do the Janet album and others and stuff. Tomorrow, the three of us are back, and we're going to be reviewing and ranking Brandy's debut album, the Brandy album, which again is probably my favorite Brandy album, and we'll go into it why. And so it's really interesting, just given, and it just, well, I think it just turned 30 or so. So it's going to be fun tomorrow at the same time. So join us. Remember to rank the album.
Don't tell everybody, but we're very fastly running out of Namdi's favorite albums now. Getting to the tail end of his favorite albums. I don't know what we're going to do after that, but don't tell anybody, will you?
No, it's my favorite Brandy album of all her albums. So it's yeah. It is. Yeah, and that's for tomorrow. That's for tomorrow. We can go into the fight and bring our boxing gloves tomorrow, stuff like that. But for everyone that joined it. But for everyone who contributed and laughed at us, and you know, Leah's better than Beyonce. I always know that there are things you just don't say. You don't put down Aaliyah. Aaliyah was good. Aaliyah is good, but I just think that I like the Aaliyah of Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. I think there was a nice. I'd like to feel that album better. But everyone has their favorites, Never Say Never and Full Moon and all that stuff. So, but we'll get into Brandy tomorrow. But we want to give props to Janet for being one of the greatest entertainers. I think she doesn't get her props because she's Michael's younger sister. She got let down by Justin Timberlake during the Super Bowl halftime show. She took the fall for what he did. She almost didn't get nominated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after many years before they finally relented and got her into it. I think she gets a bad rap.
Oh, we did. Just remind what we haven't mentioned. That hush hush marriage she had as well. Is it one of the one of the DeBarge members as well?
Yes, she had the marriage. Yes, the whole thing. Even the if you watch the Bobby Brown movie, the passionate, intimate relationship she had with Bobby.
I was stunned by that. I knew nothing about that. Oh, Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Y'all believe that?
Yeah, Bobby was saying publicly that he loved Janet, and so he was So she's had a complicated sort of love life and everything, but I don't want to take away from this great woman's achievement. This is such an amazing album. Sorry, such an amazing album, and she deserves all her flowers. So give it up to Janet, give it up to Control. Flowers. Yeah. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, and please bring the energy,
Sleep
bring the
tight,
fun.
everybody. Sleep tight, you know, sleep tight, and get your popcorn ready for tomorrow. Get your popcorn ready.
Yes. Okay, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Take care.